Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. From today, we need to start the journey of developing web applications by using one of the most important module of Spring, which is Spring Web MVC. Okay, this is the most important module here, which you need to understand. Let me see. Okay, great. The RESTful services also comes under the family of Spring Web MVC. All of you are there with me? Yes, no, maybe. To develop the web applications, earlier we had one technology. Name of the technology is servlets. If you have watched the videos of servlets, well and good. If you have not watched, the recordeds are available. That is, I myself have recorded the videos. Tomorrow, day after tomorrow is Saturday, Sunday. Please do watch and finish it off. Okay, now. Because behind the scenes, Spring MVC uses servlets only. Directly, you will not work with servlets. But behind the scenes, servlets are only getting used. Fine. Servlet is a technology which is being used to develop the web applications. Now we are using framework, not the technology. This framework internally uses the concept of servlet. So if you want to get better clarity on the concept in upcoming classes, you required to watch these videos. Even if you don't have time, watch it in 1.5x speed and complete it. If you can watch in the proper pace, practice it, well and good. Suppose you don't have that much time, at least this much time, so you must be having it wherein you can just watch the videos and understand how things works in servlet. Can I expect that from every one of you? Great. Now, under Spring Web MVC module only, we have something called as Spring REST, which is from the family of web application only. There are two types of web applications. One is the end user, client to customer to business, a client to business, or end user to business directly. One more is business to business. I would like to take the example of the Telesco application. All of your end users, customers, clients of the Telesco application, right? As an end user, you are visiting our application Telesco. And you could able to see all the courses in front of you, looks and feels of the application, everything you could able to see. And we are responding you with all the courses and everything. You are making a web request. And we are responding you web request. Right now we are talking on web application. Web is one of the service on internet. Internet means inter networking. Intra networking is there, inter networking is there. Outside everywhere you can connect. One computer connecting to one more computer is only called as networking. In this inter networking web, now my dear friends, web is one of the service. That means these applications you can access only if there is internet connection, only if you have internet networking. Many applications you have come across, some of the applications you can use without internet networking, without internet connection. Some of the applications you must have internet networking, you must have internet connection. Your university website, can you check the result if you don't have internet? Can you check courses on Telesco if you don't have internet? Can you buy something in Amazon, Flipkart, or any of the e-commerce websites if you don't have internet networking? No. All of them comes under the category of web application. Now Telesco is also web application. Now guys, you will choose the course. You will able to see everything about the Telesco in the website our team has developed. Now you will choose to buy some course. The concept of payment comes into picture. Now at Telesco, we have students from around the globe. We have from Canada, USA, Australia, New Zealand, India, Europe, UK. From everywhere we have students. All over the globe. Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, entire Europe. We have almost, in this batch also, almost more than 5 countries people might be there. Now guys, all of you might use different credit card. You might have account in different banks. If we go with make a payment, if you go with make a payment, we should be in a position to accept whatever credit card, debit card or payment option you want to make the payment to buy the courses. You might have bank account in different banks, right? We should be able to take the details, go to the specific bank, deduct the amount, get back, credit it to the Telesco account. To develop such heavy application, Telesco might require hundreds of developers who might be working for months and years. Just to maintain such big application, we might require hundreds of developers, and day in and day out we have to work. So we cannot afford, we cannot buy such heavy developers. What to do? We have approached one more company, or many companies are there. They told us, look, for such things you need not to hire so many developers and develop. We have our team who have developed that logic which is responsible to take the information from all of you and deduct the amount and credit to your bank account. All that logic we have already developed, and we have a developers to maintain such applications also. We have applications such as Razorpay, PayPal, so and so. So what we do is Telesco will take your payment details. We will forward to this payment gateways. They will go to their specific banks, direct the amount, add that to credit Telesco and give response back to Telesco. Based on the response, we will give a course access and then we will respond back to you. Now one business application which is giving service to one of its client is making use of one more business application. This one business making help of one more business application, the concept of web services comes into picture, or RESTful services comes into picture. And here is where REST API we need to understand. The first part of the discussion will be on this. And once we complete for the next 3 to 4 days, remaining all entire 1 or 2 months of discussion will happen in the family of this RESTful services, REST APIs. Is that clear to everyone present in the class? All of you? Yes. Now for this C2B, right now, our front end client where can see our visually our web application. I'll be using JSP HTML theme leaf. But right now these technologies are not very much used. We have a technologies which is React or Angular. React or Angular are of JavaScript. That means it is also a different application. Again, that comes under the family of B2B sector. In the RESTful services only I will talk about it. If the front end is not this. But initially few classes, this is the front end. Right now I do agree. The real time it's React and Angular. How to do we will see. But this will act like a base. Fine, every one of you. All of you. Yes, no, maybe. Now guys, we are exploring one of the most important module to develop this, which is Spring Web MVC. And this is based on 2 design patterns, architectural design patterns. This entire module is based on 2 architectural design patterns. Number 1 happens to be MVC, architectural design pattern. One more happens to be front controller design pattern. Based on this entire module has been designed. If you want to understand Spring MVC, there are some important components which you need to know. Spring MVC component. If you have understood these components, you have understood the entire funda. Usually you have seen me from the day one of the classes. 95% of the preference I'll give on the practical aspect. I get into the code and explain. But right now I'm explaining some theory which is the most important. If I'm explaining some theory, you can understand it is really important. Some components are there. If you have understood that components, only then you'll get the clarity how things works in the MVC. If using this MVC, if you develop the application, what is the control flow, how the applications are built. If you want to know that, then must and should you have to know about these components. Which are those components? Number one happens to be the front controller. Front controller. Behind the scene, it uses dispatcher servlet, a predefined class. Dispatcher servlet. Servlet. Understanding the importance of learning servlet, please do run tomorrow and after tomorrow. Okay. The next part, handler mapper. Handler mapper. The next important component, our actual code, controller, a class which is annotated with controller annotation. Then we have view resolver. Then we have a view component. Understanding these components is equivalent to understanding the entire module, how things works with this module. One by one, we need to see about it. Fine. Can we explore these modules, guys? Everyone present in the class, if you all may permit me. Great. As an end user of the application, as an end user, that means the one who's using the application, they don't know what happens behind the scene, nothing they know. They'll make a request to the application. Whatever request makes from the client to the application on the server, application on the server. Server is a software system, one of the software where your application will be kept. If you keep your application on server, it is meaning that you have make your application live to the world. Only then people can access that application over the web. Fine. That is only called as deployment. Now, on the web, on the internet, if someone is making a request to access your web application, that request follows one protocol called as HTTP protocol. Can anyone tell me what is HTTP protocol? Hypertext Transfer Protocol. This protocol is what being forward to communicate one computer with the another computer, one device with another device. For the web application, the communications are happening with one protocol. The name of the protocol is HTTP. Great. They will make a request and we have to respond back. We have to give the response back. We will make, by following the HTTP protocol, we'll make the response to the client. Great. Now behind the scene, what happens? Important components you need to understand. There is one who takes care of everything, which is front controller. Front controller. And the predefined class acts like a front controller for the MVC application. What is the name of the predefined class? It is none other than dispatcher servlet. Dispatcher servlet. What exactly happens if you ask me? Whenever anyone makes a request to the application, it is the front controller who takes that request from the client. After taking the request from the client, it will not directly give to the code which you have written. Backend, you have written some code. By following the layered approach development, We have three important layers. One is web layer, one is business layer, one is DAO or repository layer. Your application is connecting with the databases. And inside this web layer only, we have our controller classes. That means a class which is responsible to handle a web request, which has a capability to handle the web request and response back. Now, request is making to the application which is there on the server, which is live. Now, before request goes to the actual logic which you have written, it will be taken over by front controller, dispatcher servlet. So request will come to first the front controller, which is our dispatcher servlet. Then after request coming to the dispatcher servlet, front controller, it will seek help from one of its component. Front controller, this dispatcher servlet will ask its assistant. Name of the assistant is handler mapper. Handler mapper. What it will ask? Hey, look, take this request. Tell me, in the backend, there can be so many controllers present. There can be 1 class, 2 class, 10 class, 20 classes in the web layer. Tell me, for this particular request which is coming from the client, out of so many controllers, which controller is responsible? The mapping has been done inside which controller? Could you please tell me that? Now, handler mapper duty is to go to this controller and identify for this request which controller has the mapping. And after identifying the mapping, it will give that information back to the front controller. Hey, look, I found out inside this controller, there is this method is there which is mapped to this particular request. He is the one who is responsible for this. Making sense? Handler mapper will not hand over the request. It will just identify which controller. Inside which controller the mapping has been done for a request which is made by the client. So many requests might be there. For this particular request, which controller is responsible? That information handler mapper will identify and give back to the front controller. So far, so good. Everyone present in the class? Yes, no, maybe. Now just tell me one thing, guys. Who is the one who will first take the request from the client? Front controller, which is dispatcher servlet. And after taking the request, it will hand over the request to which component to check, to identify which controller is responsible for a specific type of request. Will handler mapper hand over the request to the controller, or will just give the information back to the front controller? Only information back. All of you are there. Then based on the information coming from the handler mapper, front controller will hand over the request to a specific controller. That controller will take it forward that to the business layer, execute, store the data based on whatever is the type of it will process the request. After processing the request in a C2B application, RESTful services, what happens? We will see. It will respond back with model and view object. Model and view object. Model and view object means a model object means actual data. View means where the data should be kept and given to the client. Model means what data, what response. Hello, I want to give it to client. That is a model. That hello, how to give? By keeping inside some themely file, by HTML file or JSP file, the file name. Keep this data inside this file and that file give it to client. Now, controller will not tell about which technology, HTML or JSP. It will just tell about logical view name. Logical view name. Just in name of a file. And what data. Which file, what data. Now, front controller got a response from the controller. Front controller has a data which I want to give it to client. And also have a name of a front-end file. Front-end file name, view file name. That this data where it has to keep and give it to client. This information is available, but front controller is unaware of which technology and where is that front end file present. He know that there is a file by the name index, and what data to kept inside the index file, what data to render inside this in the index file. He know, front control is aware of this, but don't know which technology that file, front end file, belongs to, whether it is HTML or JSP or theme leaf, doesn't know, and also don't know where that file is kept. For that, front controller will take help of one more component. Name of the component is view resolver. Name of the component is view. Hey, look, view resolver. I'm confused. I have a logical file name, front end logical file name. Take this. Tell me two things about it. What is the two things? Tell me about extension. Which technology? JSP or HTML? And also tell me where that is present. In the entire project, where is that file present? These two information give me. View resolver duty is to go back and identify where is that front end file, whether it is a JSP file, HTML file. All this information will be given back to the front controller. Now front controller has the information where is that view file present, whether it is a HTML file or JSP file. Then the model data, the actual data which to be rendered inside that front end file, will be given back to that view component. Hey, please render this. View component will render that data, whatever data, good morning, good afternoon. And then the view component will give the logical entire front end file, which has to be given as a response to the client. And based on that, it will give a response to our end user. And end user is able to see some front end good, proper response. Now, guys, the duty of view resolver is to identify the technology which is being used in the front end, whether HTML, JSP, which file it is, and also the location of the file. Will view resolver render the data into the view component? Will it render? It is just to identify where it is present. All of you, are you able to understand, guys, how things work here? Everyone? Just to summarize, just say yes or no. Front controller is the one who will take the request from the client, is the one who is responding to the client. Yes or no? It is there to process the request. Pre-processing of the request. Pre-processing of the request. And post-processing of the request. Post-processing of the request. And which class is used as a, which class acts like a front controller, or which component acts like a front controller in MVC application? Dispatcher servlet. Great, great. After taking the request, front controller will take help of one component. Can you please name the component in short? Handler mapper. What is the duty of handler mapper? To identify which controller. Correct? Will it hand over the request to the actual controller? Will it hand over the request? It will just identify the request and give back the information. Based on that, front controller will hand over the request to the, this is the behind the scene part, guys. You'll not get anywhere and it's very difficult to understand. And this controller then process and hand over what it will give back to the front controller, guys? Model and view object. What actual data which you want to give to the client and logical view name. Will it tell the information where is the front end file, which technology, .jsp, .html, will it tell? No. Just a logical view name. Now it is whose responsibility to identify the extension of the front end file and the location of the front end file? View resolver. And based on the information of the view resolver, then front control will make help of the view component and render the data, and that data will be given back to the client. The entire view file will be given back to the client. Is that clear, guys? Behind the scene, everyone present in the class. All of you. If you all may permit, can I just What type of the file is the view? Which type of file is view component? Yes. Whether it is HTML, JSP file. For React and all, how it works, I will tell you. Let's add the summary of what we have understood, guys, because this is very, very important. It is default. It's a predefined class. Its friend control is not different. You are not going to add the component Deepti. This is happening behind the scene already in the module. I'm telling that this is how things works in the MVC module. Are you understanding? You are not going to add these components, or you are not going to work directly with the view resolver, view or dispatcher servlet. These things are already being used behind the scene. What is being used behind the scene, I'm trying to say. Fine. All of you present? Yes, Spring MVC. Guys, I will say here, front controller, which is our dispatcher servlet. Dispatcher servlet will receive incoming HTTP request. All of you know about it? Yes, no, maybe? I will add these points. Just tell me these points, are they matching your understanding or not? Are they summary of your understanding or not? I want you to tell me about it. Dispatcher servlet is there any mismatch in the understanding in these points? Please tell me. Predefine class in Spring MVC module acts as front controller. Yes, no, maybe? Pre-processing and post-processing of request. Great. These 2 points, are they matching? Then what happens, guys? This dispatcher servlet will forward the requested URL to the handler mapper. All good? Handler mapper will identify which controller will handle the request, and this details will be given back to dispatcher servlet. Correct? Dispatcher servlet will now call the respective controller. Good? All good so far? Is this what you have understood? Controller will process the request and return model and view object as a response to dispatcher servlet, which is front controller. Correct? What is model here, guys? What is model here? The actual data, the actual information which you want to give as a response. And view, logical view name. Will it give extension and all? No, right? All good, guys. So far, so good. Every one of you. Now dispatcher servlet will call view resolver, view resolver. For what purpose, guys? Which will, which will identify, identify the extension, extension and view file location, view file location, and these details, guys, I am writing simple English words. There might be grammatical mistakes and all. Okay, I'm not writing article here. Simplified English words. Mistakes might be there. You adjust it. Okay. Fine to everyone, right? Details will be given back to dispatcher servlet. Correct? Everyone. Now dispatcher servlet will send the model data to view component, view component. Then what will happen after giving to the view component? View component will render that data. Fine. Huh? Model data will be render in the view file and sent back the view to dispatcher servlet. Then finally what will happen? Dispatcher servlet will response back to client, response back to client in client understandable standable format, client understandable format, which is the view page. All of you are okay with this? Are these points summarizing your understanding, guys? Just tell me, is there any mismatch of understanding between your and this? Any mismatch of understanding? No, right? All good, every one of you? All clear? Yes, no, maybe? I will add 2 points. Then we shall start developing the application. Okay, every one of you. In Spring Web MVC module, please see very carefully. The front controller is dispatcher, 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 dispatcher servlet. Which do you need to create something? As I've told you, do you need to create the object or directly work with dispatcher servlet? You need not to do anything for that. Automatically it is there. This is happening behind the scene. You're not directly working with these things. These things are being used behind the scene. You're not directly working with these things. I mean, you are not going to create the instance of dispatch servlet, nothing as such. Yeah. Now, guys, tell me just one thing here. All the activities in Spring MVC module takes place under the control or monitoring of dispatcher servlet, which is the front controller. Yes or no? It is the boss. Fine. I hope all of you are able to understand this. Yes, no? Any issues in understanding behind the scene of Spring MVC, guys? To anyone in the class, any ambiguity, confusions? Tell me, guys. We have developed the Spring applications with the XML approach, annotation approach, Spring Boot approach. So Spring MVC is also one of the module. If you want to develop the web app with Spring MVC or Web MVC module, is it compulsory that you have to create Spring Boot application only? Is it compulsory? You can go with XML driven configuration. You can go with XML driven configurations. Inside one file called as web.xml, you can write your configurations. Option number 2, you can go with annotation approach. Of course, this annotation configuration approach is also behind the scene XML plus annotation, like the way we have developed the applications. And we have directly most easiest one, MVC module. Add the dependencies, start working using the annotations. Out of 3 in industry also being used, and the most easiest one is the third one. And we are going to explore only this part. All of you are okay with it? Yes, no, maybe? Great. How many of you know the difference with respect to jar and var? Jar file, var file, have you heard of this? Java archives, web archives. My dear friends, Java archive, it consists of collection of .class files. .class files. Tell me, .class file is generated in Java application in what scenario? Can I say .class file is compiled Java file, guys? Compiled Java file is called as .class file. Collection of .class files is only jar file. Example, guys, I have written very good code inside a Telescope class, which comes very handy to all the Java developers across the globe. Are you all able to create the object of array list and use the predefined methods which Java team has given the body for? Why? Because those jar files are by default added in your application when you install the JDK. But when you wanted to use something, you have added the jars. You wanted to use someone else's code, you have added the jars into your application. Example, I have written some very good code in Telescope, which comes very handy to all the developers across the globe. And I have told the world that this is very helpful and is very secure. People, please use my code. Then you'll ask, please give me jar of your code, compiled files. And that jar I will upload on the internet. You will download, you will add into your project. The moment you add into your project, then inside your project, you can use the predefined classes and methods for which I have given the body. Understanding? Var file, it's a collection of entire files of your application. Example, if it's a backend Java application, Java files, the web files, the configuration files, everything which is needed, the entire web application, how you have built front end, back end, configuration files all together, which will be deployed on the server. On the server, it is the var file which will be deploying it, because at the end of the day, for a full application, you need all the files, right? Not just only Java files. You need front end files, configuration files, and other files of your application. Are you getting it, everyone? It is a var file which gets deployed on the server, which consists of everything. Inside that file, all other code files are present. Basic. More on this going forward. I will explain, or by default you will understand. Fine? No. Vaibhav. I'll go back to my Spring initializer. We have to add one module called as Spring module. I'll create a Maven project, Java project 3.3.5, and one more important point, guys, that whenever you develop a application which is a web application which should be accessed over the web, if you want, as a client, if you want to access any of the application which is internet based application, then the requirement for you to act like a client is you should have a browser, a web browser, any web browser. It could be Google web browser, Google Chrome web browser, Mozilla Firefox, Internet Explorer, the legend, any of the browser of your own choice, where you can browse over the internet to access the application. So as if you want to act like a client to a web application, what is the requirement, guys? Inter-networking connection and a browser, web browser. These two things must be there. If you want to act like a server, server means such a software where the application will be deployed, application will be kept. If you keep your application on the server, only then people can access over the web. If you want to search some application over the Google web browser, and if you are able to access that application, that means that application is kept inside the server software. And we have many server softwares. One of the most popular and the free server software is Apache. Are you getting it, everyone? Yes, no, maybe. Now, guys, if you have already watched the servlet videos, you have seen, or if not, after the class when you watch, you might see. There, I explicitly downloaded the server software, and after developing my web application, I explicitly have added the web application. I have deployed the web application into that server. Only then I could able to access. If you develop an application with Spring Boot, one of the advantage of the Spring Boot is it has the embedded Tomcat, Apache Tomcat server by default. The advantage of Spring Boot, one of the advantages is it has embedded, that means predefined, automatically added one Tomcat server, Tomcat, Apache Tomcat server. So, and when you run the application, no, automatically your web application which you have developed, that will be added into the server. So whatever struggle you had in your servlets, that struggle is gone here. You need not to download the Apache Tomcat, add that to your project. After developing your application manually, you have to deploy your application into the server. All that is gone. You just run your application normally. Automatically, your application will be added into this Tomcat server. Are you understanding, guys? Yes, no, maybe. So you need not to face the difficulty as a developer. Great. I'll say 3.3.5. I always prefer to use, yes, you can access, Suresh. But can you deploy the application maybe by not using the embedded Tomcat servers? Yes, you can deploy in some other servers also, not an issue. I will tell you that also. Java, Maven, latest version is what I always prefer. Even if there are any changes, we can learn together. We are here to learn, right? Yeah, no one is expert here. Everyone needs to be learned something. So if there are any changes, at least that will be helpful for me also. I don't want to use a predefined versions which I already know. It should be always whichever is the latest in the website. I will prefer that only. Even if there are any errors in the class, I don't mind. com.telescope. I will say first Spring web app. Jar or var. If you have a plan of deploying your application in embedded Tomcat server, Whether you create a jar project, var project, not a problem. As long as you have a plan of deploying your application in embedded Tomcat server, a Tomcat server which is there by default in your Spring Boot application, then creating jar or var project is not your concern. But if you have a plan of deploying your application into some other server other than the embedded server, then must and should you have to create a var project. Any of the latest version. And the part which you have to add here is, are you able to see, guys? Spring Web is a dependency. Build web, including RESTful services application using the Spring MVC module. And please see very carefully, uses Apache Tomcat as the default embedded container. Uses Apache Tomcat as a default. You need not to do anything. Already one server is there. You can deploy your application directly without any efforts. I would like to open this. That's all for now. I'll not add the other parts. We will see how to add the different layers. But now this much only I'm going to add. I will generate this project. I'll open my IDE. The ID which I'm going to use is this. And let me close all of these files. I'm going to close everything. The font size is visible. It is there in my downloads. The application is there in my downloads. The first Spring Web application. I'll go to my D drive in my data folder. I will add that. I will extract that project. I will extract the project. The project is extracted successfully. I will go and import that project into my IDE which I am using. I will say import existing Maven project, existing Maven project. Guys, did I do the project in the Gradle for your batch? No, right? Okay. Please remind me in the RESTful services, okay? Because right now some of the companies are using Gradle also, and I want you to be familiar with Gradle. See, 90% Java developers are using Maven, but Gradle is not specific to Maven. It is like Go, Groovy, or other languages also you can develop a Gradle project. But Java also can be developed, and some of the projects are using that. And maybe I want you to give one insight about the Gradle. Remind me in the RESTful services if I have not done, okay? Let's do Gradle also. I'll go back and say first Spring Web application. I will say add this project. The project is getting added. I'll open the pom.xml file. The project is still adding. It is successfully added. I'll open pom.xml file. You can see, guys, Spring MVC. Tomcat server, I did not add. Automatically it added also. Tomcat is also automatically added. I did not add that, right? I'll go back here. Application.properties, what to write, we will see there. And guys, right now, whenever you create a var project, two files gets created. Whenever you create a var project, right now I have created var project, so two files. Whenever you want to deploy your application in the embedded Tomcat server, run this main method file which you have been doing so far. If you have a plan of deploying your application into the outside server other than the embedded server, then you have to run this. You need not to use main method file. That is of no use. Servlet initializer is one which you have to execute. Fine, no? All of you? But since I have a plan of deploying in the embedded Tomcat server, creating jar or var project, will it create any major difference for me, guys? No. But in general, for a web application, what type of file should be ready to deploy? In general, for a web application, what type of file to be ready? It is a var. Fine. All good. Great. I'll go now. I will say here, right click, one class I will create within one package called as controller package. Within that package, I'll create the class as first controller. Done. I'll go and refresh this. this. I will refresh and we have got this controller. Now guys, for web layer, you have to tell me which is a suitable stereotype annotation. Controller. REST controller is also there. When to write REST controller, I will tell you. But for now, to start with, it is controller. When to use REST controller, you will understand eventually in the 1 week of time. I will import it. Done. Fine. All of you present in the class. After which, I will write the method public, maybe any method, or display some message, something, some message to client, some response, whatever, guys. You give your girlfriend name as a method name, but give something relevant. Please see very carefully, every one of you. This I will bind to one request by using one annotation called as request mapping. Request mapping. And the endpoint, I'll give it as welcome. If someone is making request to this URL, which is ending with welcome, whatever code you write here, it is the one who is going to give response. It is the one who is going to take that request and response. Request mapping is used to use behind the scene by default. But right now we don't use request mapping. Why? I will tell you. In detail, I'm going to discuss, guys. Today's and especially the Monday's class is there. No. That is the most important class for your entire journey. What to write here in real, I will tell you. Why not request mapping, I will tell you. But can be written request mapping because from the Spring Alpha Beta version, Spring 1 version till Spring 4 version, it was request mapping. From the Spring 4 onwards, 5 onwards, the changes have been made. But for longer period of time, for almost a decade, it was request mapping. But I'm going to use that. Why, what to use in real, I will tell you. Forget about this. I will create the model and view object. Model and view object, MAV equals to new model and view object. Is this only way to create the model and view object? No. How to write the controller methods is the discussion on the Monday's class. And that discussion is the base of all the classes going forward. How to write the controller methods. Fine. That discussion I will do it in the Monday's class. This is not the end of Spring MVC, guys. This is the start of Spring MVC. How to write this? Multiple ways are there to write this controller methods. I'm going to discuss. I will import. Inside this model and view object, I will say MAView dot. Please see very carefully. Add the object. I will add the actual object. I will add the actual object. I will give the key here. First key I'll give it as message and value. The model data, the data which I want to give it to my client. I'm going to add here whatever. I'll say here, hello. Welcome to our first web app. Okay, whatever message you want to give, all right, this should not be a problem. After which, I will say here MAView dot set logical view name. You should not tell the file name and all, extension and all. I will just say the file name. Maybe I'll give it as index, logical file name. Model and view object is ready. I will say here return MAView. And the return type is model and view object. Is this only way to write the control methods? No, we don't even use this, but this is the way to start with. I will save it. Done. Ready. The one who will take the request and response back. Now, guys, whenever you create a var file, no. If you go to the source, src source, I will go here. There is something called as main. Automatically one folder will be there called as web app. If you create a jar project, then this web app folder will by default will not be ready. You have to create manually. Since I have created the var project, automatically within the source one web app folder is there. Here is where you have to keep your front-end files with respect to the technology base, HTML, JSP and all. I'll go back here and create one file. Which file? I'll go back and say web file. Directly also we have an option here. I would like to go back and maybe create a JSP file. I want you to watch the videos of servlets and JSP, guys. I have recorded. It is the most simplified and fundamental videos. And can you watch it before making it to Monday's class? It is not optional. It is compulsory. Is it optional, guys? Compulsory. Please do watch it, okay? Done. I have added here. Maybe I'll say here Telesco Learning as a title. I'll give one message here. Or maybe directly I will add the message which I want to give to my client. If someone is from the front end domain here in the class, that tag was there. No, what is that we call? Marquee tag. It is still working. Is it in the functional, guys? I guess yes, no. Yeah. I will say dollar. I will add the key which I have given, guys, for the model data. What is the key I have given for model data? This is my model data, and what is the key I have given? The beauty of JSP is you can print what is there inside a variable. It is not possible in HTML. JSP is like your HTML, but whatever programming you can do, no, variables, loops, and all that you can write inside a JSP. All the functionality of HTML as it is, plus programming functionality also. For now, since you have not watched the JSP videos, I'm telling the advantage. You need not to add the tag directly, also it will work. Is that fine, every one of you present in the class? Yes, no, maybe. I would like to save. I would like to save this. Save this. Done. Don't worry about these errors and all. This will come and go. Front end, it will not create any problem for our application. It is expecting us to add the tags and all, but good to add. Even if you don't add, also not a major problem is what I feel. I would like to save it. And now I would like to deploy the application. Do we need to add the server? Do I need to deploy manually, guys? Go with the normal first application. Who is asking this? Akash. Okay. I would like to go with this. Right click, run as Java application. I need not to say anything. Just to run as normal Java application, like the way we have been running the applications. Before that, guys, who is the one who will resolve this technology and where it is present? Who is the one who will resolve this? This technology of the front end file and where it is present? View resolver. How will view resolver know? Guys, I have given index.jsp. You might give different. How view resolver will know? To give the information to view resolver, you have to keep that within the application.properties file. Because view resolver will come to this file only to identify that information to resolve the things. For which there are some properties. I'll say here spring.mvc dot view dot prefix and suffix dot prefix equal to. I will just say this much. I'll not say any folder name because in the web app I have not created any folder. Okay, I have not created. Automatically it will be considered if you just say this much. Or if you want, within this you can create one folder called as views and you can add it. But I have just told this much because directly I'm creating. I'll say spring dot mvc dot view dot suffix equals to, with the technology, guys, we are using HTML JSP. Yeah, dot JSP. Finish. Where it is, if you say this much, automatically directly inside the web app, that's the meaning of it. I'll go here, right click, run as Java application. I'm just running as a Java application. The application is deployed. You can stop the server. The server is live right now. And the default Tomcat server, the port number, inside the server, many port numbers will be there. The default port number on which the application will be deployed is 8080. And in your local system, if you have Oracle database, then this will not work because Oracle database is also working on 8080 port number. In one port number, multiple applications cannot be there. Since in my local system where I'm taking the live classes, Oracle database is not there. So 8080 port number application is deployed. Now I'll go back to my application, to my Google browser, guys. I will say HTTP colon localhost. Localhost means same, but server is present in the local system only. Port number is 8080. And what is the endpoint, guys? What is the endpoint which I have given there? The endpoint is welcome. Okay. I'll go back here to my browser and I will add this. Guys, the moment I run this application, automatically the file will be downloaded. You will not see anything if I hit the enter key. See, file is downloaded. JSP file is downloaded. Why? Because we don't have a JSP render. If you want to render the JSP file, you have to add one more dependency. If you want to render JSP file, you have to add one more dependency. That means you need not do anything. It's like a JSP compiler. You can say this as a JSP compiler, nothing as such. Are you understanding, guys? Because JSP file to render on your browser, you need to have that compiler. That one dependency you have to add in the application.properties to render the JSP files. One dependency you need to add. The dependency is what I need to add here. Let me add that. Okay. I will add from any of the. Okay. Without which it will not work. Okay. Jasper, that's a dependency which you have to add. Is the Jasper dependency is there just to compile your JSP file? Nothing apart from that. There is no other work. I'll just stop my server. I'll go back to pom.xml. I'll go back to pom.xml and I will add one of this dependency. See here, Jasper, embedded Tomcat. Is it like adding the server or just adding to run the no JSP file, just to run the JSP files? It is not like a server. Right click. I'll say here, Maven, update the project. I will say OK. I'll go back here. Now deploy the application. I'll deploy the application, run on the Java application. I'm just running, but automatically it will be deployed the application on the Tomcat server, embedded Tomcat server. I'll go back to the browser now and I will hit the enter key to this. Guys, are you getting that message? Very small because the size I have not kept. Hello, welcome to our first web app from the Google browser. That means, are we able to deploy our application, a web application? Yes, we are able to do it. See, we are getting this. Hello, welcome to our web app. Now I have a question to all of you. Which is the default server which is used by the Spring Boot? What is the default server which is used by this Apache Tomcat? What is the default port number for the Spring Boot web applications? Can we change the port number? The answer is yes, we can change. You can just go and say server.port. I will add the dependency here. I will say server.port equals to maybe 8484. I'll go here. I'll redeploy the application. Right click, run as Java application. I'm just running the application. It is only deploying it. You can see, guys. .8484 right now. I'll go back to my browser. And if I hit the enter key, you'll not get anything because the application is not deployed there. See, localhost. I'll say here 8484. 8484. Now you'll get it. See, you are getting it. Are you all there in the class? Hello, welcome to our first web app. We are able to deploy our application successfully. Fine. Now, guys, in the real time, Do we use JSP or HTML or theme leaf as a front end for a bigger applications? Do we use it? No. It's a React or Angular. For which what need to be learned? RESTful services. Entire discussion on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday's class is a base for REST APIs. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday's class, if you could not understand, then RESTful services are dhamar. And if you don't know that, then by default, you don't know anything. That's the meaning of it. Fine. So I would like to end the discussion today here itself. And on the Monday's class, I will discuss how to write methods in your controllers, all the possible way to handle the request which is coming and all the possible ways to respond back. I will show you different possible ways, 8 to 10 possible ways, and that class is the most important class. And how to write everything we will see. If you have multiple controllers, what all annotations we can use here, how to write the endpoints, how to give the data to the client, all this we will see. But this is just the start. I hope you could able to understand behind the scene entire thing, how it is working. You got the clarity, and we have developed the very first application also. Thank you so much for joining me in today's class. Allow me next 2 minutes of time to send you these files in the chat, and then you can ask the question. Have patience for the next 2 to 3 minutes of time, and I'm open for your discussion. Thank you so much, guys, for being with me in today's class. Whatever I've discussed in today's class, that much have you understood, guys? Whatever I have said, at least that much. Great. All right, guys. Thank you. Thank you all. If you have anything to discuss with me, let me know. Rest of you can drop from the class. Can you explain those two main methods again and when to use them? Generally used in the industry main. In industry, none of that will be used, Akash. You'll understand by default in the RESTful services. Okay. We have deployment also, so you need not worry. For now, to proceed further, whether you create jar or var project, not a matter of concern because Emirate Tomcat server is being used. Have a great weekend, Suresh. Hmm. I'm aware of the blue list of the concept in C language, conditionals, loops, operators, functions, array, string structure. Apart from this, after any other concepts in C, What you want to know, like which language you want to learn. These concepts are fundamentals in all the programming language TR, not just C++, Java, Python. These concepts are same only. I mean, irrespective of the programming language, the purpose and it's same. 95% it is same. Doesn't matter which programming language. You want to learn C language is what you're asking, huh? Do you know about the concept of what do you say? This is just the fundamentals of what is the purpose of you learning the C language? Like for what purpose you're learning that? Is it for the embedded softwares? You are learning embedded C, is it? You should know about the pointers. Are you aware of the pointers? Dynamic memory allocation, pointers. All the operators are you aware? Bitwise operator also are you aware? Please learn that, okay? Error handling, dynamic memory allocations, pointers. These concepts also you must be knowing it. The header files, about the more information about the header files, which header file to use when, to use the proper libraries. These things also you should be knowing it. Like, can you enable saving transcript in Zoom meetings from the Mondays? It would be helpful for taking notes. I'm not sure about that feature, Akash. I'll check with my backend team because this Zoom is like separately we have not got. It is coming from the LMS option. I'll explore that. Okay, if it is available, definitely I will enable. Any more things to be discussed, dear friends? All right, guys, I see no more questions. Thank you so much for joining me in today's class. We shall meet on Monday and continue the discussion of web applications. Thank you, every one of you. We'll meet again on Monday and continue the discussion. Thank you all. Thank you so much again to being. Thank you, everyone.